in our series whatever current series we're in. And so we're kind of just calling this Sunday in Review. We used to do these type of videos, and we're doing them again. And so this week we were in week 2 of our series called Messy, Loving Others Isn't Easy. And the title of my message this week was Love the One in Front of You in Whatever Way You Can. Long title, but that was kind of the love the one in front of you was the title, and really the key to what we were talking about is loving whoever's in front of us in at whatever way we can. We looked at the Good Samaritan, the parable of the Good Samaritan, and we looked at this idea of who is our neighbor? Who should we love? Jesus was being tested when he was asked about this, and he tells this story in response to this. The thing he kind of asked the question, right, with a question, and his question back was, what does the law say? And the law says to love the Lord with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. And so that he said, that is correct. Go and do that, and you will live. And so as we look at this idea of this story, a very, very commonly known story of a man getting beaten and left for dead, 2 people that should have stopped but didn't, and one that did. And really, we looked at this idea of the ones that didn't stop were technically, potentially, actually his neighbors. Somebody in the sense of where he lived, in the region he lived, they could have been neighbors to him, and yet they didn't stop. It was a foreigner, a stranger, somebody who was an outcast, somebody actually, these 2 groups of people disliked each other very, very much. And so they were in this spot where Jesus takes and decides to go to the extreme of saying, this is the one that stopped and was the neighbor, was the one who loved him. And what I think Jesus was showing us through this thing, that it is not about what we know. It's also about what we do. That living out our faith is so important. Talking about faith, understanding it all up here. If there's a disconnect between here and here, that's a problem. That's an issue. And so our lives should be exemplified of what we believe. It should be an overflow of what's inside of us. And so the very people that didn't stop, a priest and a Levite, should have stopped. And most people would have thought they would have stopped, but they didn't. And most of us would like to think, well, we're the Samaritan in this story. But how many of us have the Levite or the priest in us? That I talked a little bit about this. I said, sometimes we feel like, well, we can't help them because we don't agree with their response. We don't agree with their idea of what the outcome should be. So I can't love them. I can't show them Christ's love because of those things. Or we look at them as maybe the Levite and the priest did and said, they are getting what they deserve. They're reaping what they sowed. That's an attitude I think we can have at times, where we feel like, well, we can't help them because of the situation, because of our philosophical differences, because they don't look, think, or act like us. And so we can't really show them that kind of love, and because we'd be condoning what they do. And that's not at all what Jesus is describing here. He's saying, you know what, you can have those thoughts, you can have those opinions, but the truth of the matter is all I'm asking you to do is, who is your neighbor? Who should I love? The one in front of you, in whatever way you can. I read this letter, an open letter written to the Washington Post from a woman who had just lost her father. he had committed suicide. She was in a store, and she had just gotten a phone call and was devastated, and as understandably so. And two strangers came and helped her, prayed with her, gave her a gift card, made sure she got home safe, and all of those things, and the impact it had on her. And it's so easy for us to be so laser focused on our lives, the struggles we have, the plans we have, the places we're going, right? Just like the Levite and the priest, they probably had important places to go and be and see, and so they were too busy to stop. And that can be us. We can be so focused on our lives that we don't look at the gas pump next to us. We don't look up and make eye contact with the cashier. We don't, we don't reach out to the table at the restaurant next to us. We don't, at the cubicle of someone who works with us. Do we look for those opportunities? See, the big thing we're trying to do right now is we're doing this campaign, Mission to Marshfield, and I'm so excited about this campaign. I'm nervous and excited all about at the same time about this. What God's going to do. Are we going to step out in faith? Are we going to say, you know what, we're going to give to this mission because we want to love those around us, those in front of us? And the twofold of this, the messy part of this campaign, is that we're asking you to give financially, and then we're asking you to look around, to see the needs in people's lives around you and bring them forward. And this is messy because it's hands in. We're invested in it financially. We're also invested in it emotionally because these are people we maybe have relationship with. Maybe they are literally our neighbors. Then maybe they're friends of families. Maybe they're people you work with. Whatever that case may be, and they have a need, and we want to help meet those needs. I'm so excited. On Sunday, I kind of have an update on that. I'm not going to share the update with you guys tonight, but have an update on what God's doing through this campaign and all of that. I'm really excited about it. And so as we look at this idea of loving people messy, how can we need to not only realize who our neighbor is. We need to look up from our own lives. And we're going to talk a little bit about that this Sunday. We're going to talk more about this concept of the right heart behind our love. And looking at it and what Jesus says specifically about our hearts and what has our hearts and how that leads to how we respond, especially in love. And so we're going to be looking at that this coming week and as we looked at this last week. And so encourage you, if you, on Monday we prayed about what can we do something. The video we had to put down because I played a song we don't own. My bad. But the song Matthew West, Do Something, this idea of loving people where they're at, let's do something. Let's put this into action, and that's exactly what we talked about on Sunday. Let's put our love into action. Let's look up from our phones. Let's look up from the busyness of our lives, and let's do something to love someone who is our neighbor, the one in front of us, and let's love them in any way we can. Well, thanks for watching tonight. And we'll see you guys hopefully Sunday. If you haven't watched this week's message, you can go to our YouTube, our Facebook page, and watch the service there and catch up so you can be ready for week 3 of our series, Messy. Loving others isn't